Call the Town of Oliver Springs August 10th meeting to session. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Here.
Jeff Bass, Kenny Brown,
Here.
Teresa Van Hook,
Here.
Terry Hall,
Here.
Lance Brown. We have four.
Mr. Joe, would you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Our Father, we come to you tonight and we pray that you would hear our prayer, that you would answer our prayer and open our eyes and our ears and our hearts to what you would have us do to manage the resources that we have that would serve our citizens and bring honor and glory to you. We thank you for all that have come out tonight to discuss these problems and reach solutions, and we pray that the solutions will work out in a very fine fashion in the long run. We pray for our servicemen and women at home and abroad. We pray for our elected officials and appointed officials on all levels of government that your wisdom would be manifested in their heart, your truth would be manifested in their heart, where your works would be glorified and you would receive honor and glory. We pray for our service people at home and abroad, that you would give them peace and protection. We pray once again for world peace. We ask all these things in the Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
We get the approval of the minutes from the July 20th meeting. Any corrections need to be made? Someone make a motion? I'll make a motion. Second. Motion and a second.
Who seconded?
Mr. Brown?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Miller made the motion, Mr. Brown seconded.
Okay, I got it.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
Lance Brown. Yes. 5-0 done.
This time, is there any citizen who would like to come forward and address council? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Savannah Mead. I work at ASAP of Anderson. It's been a while since I've introduced myself to council, so I wanted to come and do that again tonight. I also wanted to invite you all to an event we're having at the end of the month. So, my name is Savannah, like I said. I'm a prevention coordinator at ASAP of Anderson, Anderson County's drug prevention nonprofit. And once upon a time, my grandfather, Keith Jamerson, actually sat in your chair, Mr. Mayor, so I like to sit next to his picture back there when I'm here. I wanted to invite you all to our event. It's International Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st. We'll be hosting an event from 11:30 to 1 o'clock at the First Baptist Church in Clinton. We will be taking the day to honor the 91 lives that were lost in Anderson County due to overdose in 2021. We will also be taking the time to honor our EMS workers, people who deliver and respond to those kinds of overdose calls. We want to make sure we honor them as well. I have a flyer here to invite council and anyone else in Oliver Springs who would like to come. If I could leave that with you, Mr. Kingston?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Lunch will be provided, and we'll be having a couple of speakers as well. So we hope to see you all there if you can make it, and thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? All right, mayoral update. First thing I'd like to do, this is something that I wanted to do for a while, and I apologize that it's taken so long to start. But every quarter or once a quarter, I'd like to recognize a citizen from the community who has shown that they have taken great interest in our town and has provided the city with resources, and whether it's time or financial assistance or equipment, or they just come they go above and beyond the call of duty. Nobody really asked them. They saw a problem and they took care of it. And so this is something, again, that's near and dear to me because I don't understand the value of time, right? I guess all of us probably enjoy having money, but really it's time. I can't reproduce any more of it. You can't buy any more of it. So when you donate your time, and you give of your time, you're telling people that's what's of value. To me, it is. And so when someone gives hundreds of hours of their time to this town, I think it should be celebrated and honored. And so for the first, we had a plaque made up. And this gentleman is in attendance tonight, Mr. V.J. Murray. If you would stand or come forward, I'd appreciate it. And the award just simply says, "Community service presented to V.J. Murray in grateful appreciation of your dedicated service to the people of this community, presented to you by Mayor Jason Stillner and the town of Oliver Springs." Thank you so much.
They have Chris Washington at the high school right now. So
There you go.
come on down. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, BJ.
And if you know of anyone who gives of time or talents, or please let me know. Okay, we would love to honor them. I know that there's a lot of things that go unseen, and although I'm mayor and I hear a lot, I may not always know a lot, right? I may not. So if you know of somebody, please let me know. Love to honor them, and I know going forward we'd also like to maybe once a year have a beautification award. Right? I would love to see that. Town Beautification Award. So going forward, Corey. Not to put right, take some notes, not to put any more on your plate. Thank you again, Mr. Murray. We appreciate all that you do. So, and know that it doesn't go unseen. It's truly seen. So, you see my bright orange this evening. High vis orange. You all heard me say this, I'll say it again. I am a working mayor. Okay? You rarely will see me at City Hall. However, Corey will tell you, David Laxton will tell you, Rusty, Teddy, I'm in constant communication with them. Constant communication. Probably more than they would like. But I love my town. And I know tonight we started a little bit late. You know, emergencies call and you have to answer, okay? And I apologize to the folks of this town for putting you on hold for 20 minutes. Just know that I love my town and I work hard to provide for my family, for my men, and to make sure that this town is headed in the right direction each and every day. And I understand the value of a dollar, and I understand the citizens of this town expect their dollars to be spent wisely, right? And prudently. And I promise you going forward, that's exactly what we're going to do. And one of the things that we're going to do to make sure that is happening, the second meeting of every month, we will now have a financial statement for all council members to look at. It's my understanding years ago under Mr. Crow and Chris and other mayors, financial statements were available. And we got away from that. Well, we're going back to that, right? Because every council member needs to know. The public needs to know. And those financial statements will be available to the public. Not just for us to see, but for you to see, because it's your tax dollars that are being spent. Okay? That's what you will get with myself and Corey as transparency going forward. One item that a gentleman called today and wanted me to address Spring Street and the paving. That's a state highway. We met with TDOT again, was it this week or late last week?
Last week.
It was last week. Spring Street is on the list of roads to be paved. They told us earlier this year hopefully the springtime, and obviously here it is, August, still not been paved. They said hopefully sometime in the fall, Spring Street will be paved. And so we have decided that versus spending city revenue and resources to fix potholes on a road that's going to be ultimately paved, probably not very wise or prudent. So, and I apologize for the inconvenience, and I know it is an inconvenience. However, when the state's going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the whole road paved, I know we're on the waiting list, but they have assured us, Casey Wood is our representative, that they will get to it as quickly as they can. And the last thing that I want to say, tomorrow night, Arrowhead Park, 8 p.m., be there. We're going to have movie night at the park. Rusty and Dave have worked really hard putting it together. We did a trial run Saturday night, Friday night, and I'm telling you, when I say excited, I'm excited, right? So that's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. The concession stand will be open. The youth club will be working the concession stand. So, you know, tomorrow's supposed to be really nice weather. It's supposed to be low 80s, I think, or mid 80s. So, and I don't, very small chance of storms. So, tell your kids, tell your grandkids, bring them out, bring a chair, bring a blanket, and get ready to watch Super Mario Brothers, okay? So, that's the movie we'll be showing. And so that's all I have at this time. Corey, take it away.
Fiscal year 21-22 audit has been completed and submitted to the state on July 28, 2023. Got right out of 21-22 and started right into 22-23's audit, so that's already began. Goals will have that submitted by the end of this year. That way we can kind of get back on schedule and have everything submitted, on time. This past week, or the week before, getting patching road cuts and potholes. Started on Strut Street, got Richards Drive done, parts of Airport Road and parts of Midway. The plan is Tuesdays and Wednesdays, every week going forward, whenever the asphalt plan is making, we're planning on hitting the potholes and road cuts. Did have a complaint come in today about the road condition of Rome Street. That's going into to the middle school over here, so that's something that'll probably need to be addressed. I did have a note to mention about Spring Street being paved by TDOT in the fall / winter. One thing about garbage pickup. Currently, Waste Connection charges us residential rates $10.20. Currently have 1,488 customers. We pass that $10.20 right along to the customers. May need to consider charging an administrative fee. Nothing more than 5 cents, 6 cents. You're not out to make money on this, you're just want to cover your cost. 5 cents to the bill will give you $74.40 per month. It's $892.20 a year. So that's something we really need to consider doing.
Question,
Yes.
who handles that?
Water department.
Do they not turn it over to Ramona and she cuts the checks on it?
Goes through 2 hands,
That's correct.
comes in through the water department,
Yeah.
and it's transferred to the general.
So for time and eternity, we've been quote unquote losing money on that. Just the collection administrative end of it. But it's not a substantial deal, but it's, like you said, $800 a year that, and the average customer, you're talking, what is it, like 60 cents, 80 cents per customer per year?
Yeah, 60 cents.
Yeah, so, it's very, very low. You're correct, it does.
And that's all I have. We'll get into the budget stuff. We'll do the agenda.
Thank you, Corey. All right, any comments from Mr. Miller?
Oh, not this time, sir.
Not at this time. Mr. Brown?
What's our status on the cemetery? I know we're behind. We still got, manpower that looks awful up right today.
Well, I mean, it's rained about every other day, so
Yeah, I
I'm having
understand that.
trouble doing that.
Is that on schedule, Rusty?
I know Stefan's got a full crew now.
Oh, does-
For Midnight, so we're back to 4.
You
Yeah,
got
we'll let
full
Rusty,
crew?
yeah, we'll let Rusty go ahead.
They'll mow it Monday or Tuesday next week.
Okay, is all our mowers up to date? Or
We
is-
spent right at $1,500 on them this week.
Service on
Service them, and both of them need to start, well, one of ours needs starters and the park mower needed a starter. They all need new belts, they all need new spindles. We calculated it up, I'll let Jason and Corey know. We have 2 mowers on the street department, one of them has 7,000 hours and the other one has 8,000 hours on it. Thereabout.
So what he's saying is, there's a very good possibility next year, we might be looking to buy a couple of new mowers. Now with that being said, I donated my 4.0 commercial zero-turn mower to the town as a reserve mower for those guys. It's a very nice mower, is it not?
It is.
I bought it and I never used it ever.
They've used it all week this week.
See, so it, to help with 7,000 and 8,000 hours is a substantial, like,
They're 5-year-olds, so we got our money's worth out of it.
yeah,
How much is it gonna cost to replace them, any idea?
about 18,000.
And I talked to Corey today, and after we get new ones, the 2 we got, one can go to the water plant, and one can go to the sewer plant. The mowers they got can be sold.
One thing we're gonna look at doing is start surplusing a lot of our used equipment. What we can get rid of, we get rid of it. Going forward, we'll start an asset management plan where, hey, when our mowers get to, say, 5,000-6,000 hours, we get rid of those, while you still got some value. That way, I mean, you keep your maintenance costs down by,
Yeah, I know, when we bought these, we bought them kind of at set, so to speak.
yeah.
And then we added some more, as if you, the valve out, sometimes the one tears up, they all tear up.
Yeah.
You gotta replace them.
Yeah, but grasshoppers are pretty good, dependable.
They are.
Yeah.
You say they're still doing paving, patchwork?
Yeah,
They still up, down there on the Parnell end of it, where they did the new turn with the asphalt. That bus goes down through there, it runs out of asphalt and made a big old pothole out there. It's not a big thing, but it just keeps going deeper. Especially the buses back with
what's the
it.
name of that?
Parnell.
Parnell.
Yeah,
They went in there and made a big turn so the bus wouldn't get in the ditch. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Van Hook?
Nothing this time.
Nothing this time. Mr. Holland?
How many inmates we got now?
4. Back to full crew finally. It's been probably 2 months, 3 months,
About 6 months.
about 6 months, we've not had a full crew. So it's been a while.
So I want to repeat from the last meeting that move or potential tax increase, that the public should be aware of a property tax program for various senior citizens and disabled citizens that are eligible and encouraged to not be eligible to apply for a property tax relief program. Could you kind of tell them what to do?
there's actually handouts out on the table just for those programs.
So here at City Hall, if you come in, the first table to your right.
Actually, they're out here right now, just on the table with all the budget information.
Now we're on the internet and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
They could try to at least apply for it or something
Yes.
for somebody else.
I think my grandparents, before they passed away, were on that program. It's a good program. So,
That'd be
thank you, Mr. Holland. Mr. Brunt?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, one other thing we mentioned, fellow mentioned, received the termination letter from Attorney Davis for East Tennessee Development District. So that's, we'll need to look at that, get your signature on that tonight. So I also have the letter of the mutual liability agreement for them over.
Okay.
So we'll need to look at those.
Chief, this time.
The first thing I was wanting to talk to you about that I was in your packet, was since our last meeting, we had our yearly audit from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office where we spend money for overtime and for grants, for equipment, radars, things of that nature. They come down and done a one-day audit on us and we had 0 findings. The next question I have, do you have anything from any of our activity reports we submitted to you?
I appreciate the report. It's good to see what our officers are doing.
And then lastly, something I talked with the mayor about a little while back, I got you the packet on everything on the Hometown Heroes programs. There are 2 different options. If you will look through them whenever y'all have a chance, and if you don't mind to get back with the mayor and myself and kind of answer questions and see how y'all want to go forward for this program.
I did call Kingston, David Boland, city manager, and asked them how they did theirs. And basically, it's like an application process. You just submit, and then you, the homeowner, or the citizen that you want your family member to be recognized, basically, you pay like $100 or something, like $75, $100, and then the city maintains, puts them up, takes them down. But I think it's a great program. I won't say there is labor issues involved, taking them up, putting them down, taking them up, putting them down, and storage. So it's not just easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But thank you for getting that together, Chief. I appreciate it.
What's our status now? Are we full employed, or you got all your men?
So at this time, from what our current staffing was, yes, we are one down. But with budget constraints, we are going to leave this position open for an undetermined amount of time to try and catch everything up. And once the city manager, the mayor thinks that we're in a good place, we're looking at putting that officer back on the road.
This hometown deal, is this something we need to vote on?
No, sir, it's in the designing phase. This is the program you had requested about putting the flag in the post. Look at the information, see the cost. We're trying to decide basically, is that something that the city is going to try and offer and manage? Is that something that we're going to farm to the DAV or the American Legion to handle? Who's going to incur the costs? Are we going to try and raise money, have the families pay for it? And then next is how are we going to get these people's pictures and information to put on them? So we're working out the logistics of it right now. And, you know, if you want some input, this would be the time to talk to the mayor, myself, city manager.
And what I mentioned to David was the American Legion and the DAV, if we could form a partnership off the city, the DAV, the American Legion, if we could all come together in unity and make this project happen. So it's not just the city, it's not a sole entity, but it's all 3 working together for a common cause. That's what I would like to see, but it might not happen. So.
But is there any way we know when this is going to transpire, or is it something you're working on?
It's basically, like I said, in the designing phase. It can move as quickly or as slowly, y'all want. Talking to the 2 different companies, one company is a little cheaper, but we're going to do all the work ourselves. The other company, bringing in the second bid, they do the majority of the work. Once the information is gave to them, they give you a bill and send you everything. It's a little bit more expensive, but there's less involvement from us.
From us? But they'll put the signs up too, huh?
No, they'll just bound to us.
Okay, I understand, that's what I'm trying to get around.
Yeah, so one, we collect all the information, put it all together, we send it to them, they print it off and mail it to us. Then the other company, we have people call them directly and pay for it, we don't get involved. They do it directly with the company, and as somebody new comes and buys one, they just mail it to us and say, hey, put it up.
Okay, so you'll have more as it goes along, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And one, not it's just a hurdle to overcome. We won't say issue, but hurdle to overcome is where are we going to place these?
That's what I'm gonna ask.
There's,
You don't have a light pole everywhere.
well, right, and therein lies an issue. It really does. So it creates a hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, and we have several, like logistics of getting up the street department to be able to put them up, status of, the truck and things of that nature, that we don't have like a lot of the resources right now because it's mowing season. We have a lot of traffic, we've got schools on started, so a lot of our resources are kind of depleted right now, so this would be more of a kind of a fall thing to get ready for it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
I would think winter to spring, it would be a good timetable, to be honest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Hey, Chief,
Yes.
I've got a question. You put 2 officers on the 4-lane business part of the days, like in the AM and the PM, you have 2 officers on each end. Do
Jim,
you?
do what?
Do you?
Yes, sir.
You think in the afternoons that, now you've got 3 officers a shift now, don't you?
No, sir, I have 2. So what happens is I have 4 shifts of 2, and then right now you only have 2 support staff because I am 1 position down and I have 1 on light duty. So right now, the only floating position I have is myself and 1 admin.
You think in the afternoons, since school's back in session, you could get an officer in the neighborhoods in the afternoon, probably between 5 and 7?
Yes, sir. We've got 2 programs going right now, and we kind of discussed it with Ms. Van Hook. So right now, usually I have a minimum of 1 officer between about 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. staying on Airport Road at her request. We've had an increase in crashes at the East End Red Light and Knoxville Highway, so those have been kind of saturated when I have free time in between calls. If you have any specific areas, I can dedicate some enforcement for those areas. Not a big problem.
I've had a couple of people, and Midway's always been a problem for speeding, you know that.
Yes, sir.
Midway and Sleepy Hollow and out by the old drugstore, out in there, Foxwood.
Maybe the officer who's working airport could just kind of have a little circuit.
Yeah, and what happens a
Cover
lot
all of
of,
that.
yeah, and what happens a lot of times when we have dedicated issues like that, and I'm slow on resources on the road, what we do is we offer the programs for the THSO, which is what I was talking about, we just had an audit on. I generally get about $7,500 a year in overtime for just traffic safety. So if we have an enforcement area, you can give me some days during the week at times, and I can ask officers for their off-duty time if we come in for time and a half. That's reimbursed, costing taxpayers nothing, and those officers can do enforcement in those areas paid for by the state.
I think it'd be nice to see the bikes out in the neighborhoods,
Yes, sir.
especially in the afternoon when the kids are,
Is it generally weekdays or weekend?
it's all times.
I will get with my captain, and we'll put out some mandatory overtime during those times, and we'll get some out there.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Anytime, sir.
Chief. Chief Bailey.
So the only thing I got for you guys tonight is the monthly report for you guys, just as general info. Just what our status was. That was from July. If you notice, there was a heavy fire loss on there from the Sleepy Hollow incident. And, both buildings was a total loss, so that's why that loss is so high. So that's all I've got.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is a good intent call?
So a good intent call, that is a no response, most likely. So we're volunteer Monday through Friday, typically Monday through Friday from about 7 a.m. to about 5 p.m. You'll have no responses. Most of them are medical and stuff. That's what the good intent calls are. If that's the correct one, let me see. Code 611.
It's on the first page.
Yeah, all that is all that info placed in the same. So for public service, goes into that same code, assist police or other agency, dispatch canceled en routes, or smoke detector installs or activations that are unintentional. They're all classified together, so once you break that down, you go into the code 611, which is the breakdown of the codes. That canceled en route could also be us responding to canceled en route, or that canceled en route could also be a no response on the medical side.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Justin. Any old business at this time? New business. Discussion of the fiscal year 2023-2024 general fund budget ordinance 2023-08-10A. Corey.
All right, for your FY 23-24 general fund budget, proposing the 20-cent property tax rate increase, taking your property tax rate from 1.1358 to 1.3358. Now, if you will go to your first in your packet here, this sheet, that is ordinance number 2023-08-10A. Ordinance of the Town of Alder Springs adopting annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th of 2024. Budgeted revenues for your general fund are $2,907,884. Now, let's just go to this sheet right here, and we'll go through each line item. This is your Town of Alder Springs approved budget FY 23-24. Again, this is a 20-cent property tax increase, taking your property tax rate to $1.3358. Property taxes, $723,000. And I'm just going to do a quick overview of the larger items. Your local sales tax, $777,000. That's county trustee. Local sales tax from state, $396,000. Wholesale beer tax, $147,000. Total local taxes and other revenues is $2,292,350. Bottom of page 1 is intergovernmental revenue. This is your state grants, law enforcement grants, state income tax, state beer tax, mixed drink tax, stuff like that. Actually, one thing I want to point out at the bottom, donations from Roane County government and Roane County athletic facilities. Roane County Schools gives us $5,000 each year for use of the athletic fields. Page 2. Again, this is your fire reporting fees, accident report charges, street maintenance contracts. We'll talk about that just for a little bit. Street maintenance contract, that's 110-3413. This year, we just signed a contract with TDOT for $39,500. That is reimbursement for any type of work, mowing, road repair, litter pickup, debris removal on state right-of-ways.
And salting roads.
And salty roads. Below that, total fines, forfeitures, $312,000. Miscellaneous revenue, again, we're looking at surplus and some of our equipment. Taking your total revenues again to $2,907,884. Page 3. Total alderman, that's council, $4,850. Total judicial, $4,010. Total city court, $27,100. Total mayor, $10,900. Page 4. Total city manager, $104,030. Total city reporter, $24,310. Total city attorney, $15,000. Total tax administration, $20,500. Page 5. Total treasure, $143,110. Total planning and zoning, $49,670. Total city hall building, $77,170. You do show capital, $23,000 capital outlay project, which is the roof for this building. Page 6. Total police, $1,093,075. Page 7, total fire, $97,080. Total civil defense, $7,460. Page 8, total highways and streets, budget is $337,361. Total city garage, $13,750. Total sanitation, this is a transfer from the water fund to here, that's back out. $31,000 total sanitation. Total cemetery, $1,100. Page 9, rabies animal control. Now this is also codes enforcement. Total rabies animal control, codes enforcement, $43,800. Parks, $35,403. Page 10, park area soccer field, $1,750. Carmichael Park area, $3,000. Redwood Park area, $700. Total library, $48,850. And page 11. Urban development is zero. Total insurance, again, this is your insurance liability and building insurance, $52,559. Retirement and pension contribution, $58,000. Total workers' comp, $88,000. Total unemployment insurance, $1,250. This is your another retirement right here, employer contribution, which is the OASI, $104,000. And employer's share of health insurance. This is again just the general fund is totals $409,096. So there's again, that's just your general fund insurance right there, $408,996. Taking your total fund expenses to $2,907,884, giving you a zero balanced budget. Beginning cash balance is $299,416. Beginning fund balance is $624,043. Does anybody have any questions about the general fund budget for that sheet?
I meant to ask Ramon today and I got busy and I failed to do so.
Not looked at it this week.
It was about 390.
Probably 360, but that's probably close. You're probably closer to 390.
Cash on in. And I apologize for not having that. I really didn't even message her today. I'm busy.
Now, going back to your actual ordinance, this page here, to be passed. On page 3, that's the back page. Your current debt service, that means current capital projects did over the past few years. Capital outlay project, you purchase a mini excavator, the tractor, the 6 police cars, the fire truck, and there's your rural development debt that you, again, now I know that lays right here, but that rural development was for your Joel Road. Upcoming capital projects for this year proposed: roof replacement for the City Hall building, fire hydrant replacement throughout the city. That's just the ones that are broken. Also included, this which will be on the water side, is the repainting of the fire hydrants that we discussed at the last meeting. And then the last capital project for the general fund is a drain tile replacement throughout the town. Now, section 5, no appropriation listed above may be exceeded without an amendment of the budget ordinance as required by the municipal budget law of 1982. In addition, no appropriation may be made in the excess of available funds except to provide for an actual emergency threatening the health, property, or lives or the inhabitants of the municipality and declared by a 2/3 vote of at least a quorum of the governing body in accord with Tennessee Code annotated 6-56-205. Section 6, money may be transferred from one appropriation to another in the same fund in the amount of up to $10,000 by the mayor, subject to such limitations and procedures that set by the Board of Mayor and Alderman pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated 6-56-209. Any resulting transfers shall be reported to the governing body at its next regular meeting and entered into the minutes. Section 7, a detailed financial plan will be attached to this budget and become part of this budget ordinance. That was the second packet that we were just reviewing. Section 8, there is hereby levied a property tax of $1.336 per 100 of assessed value on all real and personal property. Section 9, this annual operating capital budget ordinance and supporting documents shall be submitted to the comptroller of the Treasury or comptroller's designee for approval pursuant to Title 9, Chapter 21, Tennessee Code annotated within 15 days of its adoption. Section 10, all unencumbered balances of appropriations remaining at the end of the fiscal year shall lapse and revert to respective fund balances. Section 11, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with any provision of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 12, this ordinance shall take effect July 1st, 2023, the public welfare requiring it. Does anyone have any questions?
So that's the budget, correct? In a nutshell.
That's correct.
It's a hard one for me to swallow all the years I've sat on this council, but I make a motion.
So we have a motion,
Second.
we have a second. Any further discussion? Before we do a roll call, I know how hard it is to be the mayor who made the decision to do this. I've talked to Joe, I've talked to Corey, I've talked to council members, mayors, city managers, other mayors. And when I say a heavy weight, this was one of the heaviest weights, I guess, in my 44 years of life. One of them, not the heavy, one of them that I had to come to. And this was a tough decision. And going forward, we won't be here again. Not as long as I'm the mayor. Okay? Thank you, council. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Brown. Yes. Passed.
Discussion of fiscal year 2023-2024 Drug and Investigation Control Fund Ordinance 2023-08-10B.
Next in your packet, ordinance number 2023-08-10B. The ordinance of the town of Walter Springs, Tennessee, adopting a fiscal budget for the use of drug investigation and control fund for fiscal year July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Projected total revenue, $6,352. Personnel services, $1,000. Supplies, $1,000. Small items of equipment, $2,000. Capital outlay, $2,352. Total proposed appropriations, $6,352.
I'll make a motion, we pass.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second, do we have any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Butler. Yes.
Item C, discussion of fiscal year 2023-2024 sanitation budget ordinance 2023-08-10C.
Ordinance 2, the 2023-24 sanitation budgets. Again, ordinance number 2023-08-10C. Whereas the town of Walter Springs operates a sanitation services department under the general fund, and whereas the Tennessee General Assembly in 1992 passed Public Charter 759, which amended section 68-31-874A of the Tennessee Code annotated, and whereas Public Charter 759 provides that effective July 1992, each county, solid waste authority, and municipality shall account for financial activities related to the management to solid waste in either a special revenue fund or an enterprise fund established expressly for that purpose. Therefore, let it be ordained that the FY 2023-24 sanitation budget be as follows. Refuse collection charges, $144,070. Your contractual, this is your expenses. Contractual services, $174,000. Operating transfer to sanitation fund, $31,000. This ordinance shall take effect upon passage, the public welfare requiring it.
Question.
Yes.
Did they ever give you a answer back whether or not in October they're gonna hike it up again?
They did not. I have actually been in touch with Waste Connections last week with the district manager, the assistant district manager, where we were having issues getting somebody to respond.
Right.
Well, I'd sent an email and I got a call back probably within an hour. Nothing is mentioned about a rate increase. So I do not have an exact answer on that. But that was not discussed during that call.
If they do pass, like if they, instead of 1020, they bump it to 1040, do we instantaneously pass it along, or do we sit on it for a whole year? Or?
Have a budget amendment. You're going to pass it, along.
Pass, we ate it.
Right.
Well, I think as a matter of law and ordinances and contract law, if the waste management company increases the rates to the town based on the contract the town has to pay, then town council has to decide if they want to increase the garbage pickup fee and pass it on to the customer. And if town council does not, then obviously that's an increase that the town budget will have to carry. Town council votes to pass it on to the consumer or the customer. Probably have to be a budget amendment of some nature to increase the revenues, projected revenues, and increase the projected expenses, I'm guessing.
Does this amount project exactly what it's costing us, or are we losing? We're
I mean, that you're projected out, you're passing that straight along.
To us,
this
yeah.
is exactly what it's going to cost.
What they charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they have an increase based on the fuel escalator or whatever's in the contract, then the actual amount we pay them may be somewhat greater than what's budgeted. We have to have a budget amendment at some point, probably in June of 2024, to balance the budget. But see, at some point, town council have to decide whether to pass the increase on to the customer or whether to eat the increase.
Corey, what is this operating transfer to the sanitation fund in the amount of $31,000?
Just where it comes through the water fund, transferred to the general fund. That's something that's been done for years.
Because it comes in on our water bills.
Right.
So the water department handles it first, then
And then they
they
send it on over.
they take it and send it to Ramona.
Okay.
And that's why Corey was saying that passing a 5 or 6 cent increase along to cover that administrative cost that is incurred from the water department to Ramona's office, then from there over to Waste Collections. So
And we need to do that. I mean, it's a cost.
I mean,
it is a
Yeah.
cost, so, and not a substantial cost.
No, it's not substantial.
50, 60 cents per customer per year. So
So is this budgeted for this year? This money won't go up till next year, or can you go up in December, or?
Well, I mean,
We can always-
if Waste Connections comes in and raises the rate,
But there's no guarantee this figure is gonna be for a year.
no, no.
And it changed over the years, I'm assuming it has, right?
It's been fairly stable.
Fairly stable.
I think it went maybe 7 or 8 years at 9, it's 9 something.
Okay.
And it's been at 10.20 for 2 years, 2 or 3 at the most.
When are they subject to do this?
I think
That's just with no guarantee of nothing, they can do it when they want to, is that correct?
well, they usually just do it one time a year.
I think if you read the contract, and I haven't read it in some time, so I'm speaking from memory, so I could be stand corrected by the original document, which speaks for itself. They have a fuel escalator, and if diesel goes from $5 a gallon, $10 a gallon, then in October, we're going to get an increase. If diesel fuel remains constant, and I assume that's the fuel they would use in the trucks, then we probably would not get an increase. I'm going to speculate on an educated guess that there's a window in the contract each year, say in October, where they can raise it. If they don't raise it, then if there's an increase in, say, January, February, they eat that until it comes around to the next October.
Okay. Is it normally October for them, that's their
I'm
fiscal
not
year?
sure about that.
Now,
I'm not 100% sure.
I know Corey has more work than he can get done in a month of Sundays, but to answer y'all's question, if we could find that contract and copy it and put it in a package for next time,
Yeah.
then we can all read it and know.
Yeah.
And you may have that in your file, or you may not, I don't know.
Yeah, we've looked at it here recently, so yeah, that wouldn't be an issue there. Yeah, definitely.
I think that just fuel for thought, you wanna know, when is the projected budget increase, if they're gonna have one? Could it be in October, or maybe December? I know we got, with inflation here the last couple of years, though, we got hit pretty hard.
Well, generally in the past, the city manager has said we got a rate increase from Waste Management of X dollars per month as an announcement, a point of information during comments from comments from city manager.
Well, whenever it is, we always have the option of amending the budget.
Yes, correct.
I mean, if they go up on us, then we just have to have an amendment.
Do they have something built into their 2% every year in their contract with us?
No.
No, they don't have nothing built in there. We don't have anything built in there like that either, do we? Except for the water rates?
Correct.
Yeah, except for water.
That's all I have.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Lisa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Brown. Yes. Passed, all voted done.
Last item on the agenda, discussion of the fiscal year 2023-2024 Street Aid Fund Ordinance 2023-08-10D. Corey?
Again, ordinance number 2023-08-10D, an ordinance of the Town of Oliver Springs, Tennessee, adopting a budget for the use of state street aid funds for the fiscal year July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Beginning funds, $124,222. Anticipated state funds is $95,000, giving us a total available funds of $219,222. Your expenditures for, again, 43,100, that's your highways and streets account. Electric is 46,500. Repairs and maintenance, labor, 700. Supplies, 1,000. Machinery parts, 1,000. Painting and plumbing supplies, 300. Consumable tools, 4,000. Sign parts and supplies, 3,000. Safety supplies, 500. Cement and concrete supplies, 500. Metal products, 6,000. Raw materials, salt and brine, is 5,500. Asphalt and filler, 5,000. Capital outlay, 20,500. That capital outlay project is for a new mower. And roads, streets, and parking lots is 2,500. So total proposed appropriations is 97,000. That's dropping your total available fund ending account balance of $122,222. Again, the capital project was to purchase a new mower.
Is it zero turn?
We've not decided yet. We start, yeah, it will be. Probably it will come off state bid too.
If I may ask a former mayor, when you were mayor, did you all pave any roads in the town? One? Was it one?
Don't remember.
Don't know.
Paved the one down here going down 2 lanes, the only one they paved. Going down the front of the street here. Going, this 2-lane road here from the, I said stop sign down to meet the 4-lane.
And Dave Park Lane too, off of Richards.
Where's that at now?
Off Richards Drive,
Oh.
over by Little Leaf Baptist Church.
I think did Rome County do the 4-lane? That was,
That's state.
but I still, I'm saying they did that in the last 10 years, I guess, hasn't it?
I don't.
18 years?
I don't.
Anderson County hadn't done it in longer than that.
State paved Tri-County Boulevard, I'm gonna say 15 years ago,
Yeah.
I think. It's a good while. And I won't say they paved half of it maybe down to the county line, but I've slept one since then.
It's going to be a discussion we have very shortly about repaving the boulevard. You don't know that yet, Corey. You do now. Casey Wood, this coming week. Thank you, Cecil. I apologize for the distraction. All right, we have a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Brown.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Water board meeting to order. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Here.
Jeff Bass, Kenny Brown,
Here.
Teresa Van Hook,
Here.
Terry Holland,
Here.
James Brown. Harold Quorum.
All right, can we get approval for the minutes from the July 13th meeting?
I make a motion that those minutes be approved.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? No discussion, roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Brown.
Are there any comments from water board customers at this time? If so, please come forward, state your name and your address. Mayor update, Corey, where are we at on the water loss rate this month?
July, we're still at around 65%. Had a couple of things that caused that to stay up. New high service pump number 2 was installed at the water plant on Thursday and Friday, July 27th and 28th. During that time, our water plant was shut down completely for about 28 hours. So we purchased about 1.29 million gallons from Anderson County that day. We took about 770 gallons per minute. So that took us for July of 2023, we purchased 5.5 million gallons from ACWA. If you look back June and May, we were about 3.75 million. So I guess we're just basically holding our own for the past month. Project updates, the Justice Field Sewer Line Project, estimated bid date is November of 2023. The Joel Road Pump Station Project, that's a $1.1 million rural development, USDA loan. Just got an email this afternoon that Southern Contractors will be here after Labor Day to start on that project. That's new pumps, control center, emergency generator, and transfer switch at the Joel Road Pump Station. One thing with the, I've mentioned in the past about the number of customer high bills, and this is going multiple years back. One thing I'd like to do is do a one-time adjustment, taking their total water metered times the wholesale rate, and then give them a 30-day payment plan, because starting September 1st, all accounts will be disconnected for non-payment. No questions asked. This is one of the things we inherited right here. I go back to the $396,000 of bad debt on the books. So that's one thing we're trying to tackle right here. Now, with you having, again, your rural development, CDBG money, anytime you get grant money like that, one stipulation is you cannot give water away. No reason you can do that. But, where these customers have had this, high bills going on for multiple years, I would like to do that just to start getting that debt off of books. Now you're just talking about 12 or 13 customers here too. Probably averaging anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 water bills too.
I see the look on a couple of people's faces when he said $396,000 in bad debt. Let me clarify that. So when COVID hit, the federal government, state government said we can no longer shut your water off for non-payment. So that went on for how many months, Robert? 18? Mr. Brown?
2 years.
2 years?
Almost 2 years.
And so we accumulated an incredible backlog of people not paying and not being able to enforce cutting their water off to force payment. So there you go. I saw Mr. Smith like, what in the world?
I've got more confusion.
I got you. So, but that's where almost $400,000 of bad debt comes from. So.
Clarify for somebody that knows nothing about water. We've got a 65% water loss rate.
Yes, so whenever I became mayor, we were at 78%, which is the second worst in the state of Tennessee. There's only one utility that was worse than us, and that would be over in Sevier County. Right now, minus the fact that we put a high pressure pump in at the water plant, we had a fire, and then we had a 4-inch or 6-inch water main leak out here on the main 4-lane that we could not fix due to staffing issues for 3 days. No fault of anybody, it's just saying, that's what happens when you're understaffed. We're down to 65% the last 3 to 4 months. So that's saving us about $6,000 to $7,000 a month in water purchase from Anderson County Water Authority. Our goal is to get to 60% where we're not buying any water from Anderson County. So that's another savings of another $5,000 to $6,000. Then once we get to 60% and we're no longer buying any water, then the goal is to get to 50%. The state average is what, 33, 35?
State says you have to be below 35% or they can come in and actually take your utility district over.
And actually, the state is about to force a couple of utilities to merge or sell because of lack of, and they even mentioned it to us. If you can't, we've had 4 years in a row of losing money. And I ain't talking like $5,000 or $10,000. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're getting the ship turned around slowly but surely. And we are headed in the right direction. Maybe not as quick as we'd like for it to be, but with that being said, we do have new water meters that are set to be installed either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Let me give you the importance of that real quick. We have 200 meters, if I'm not mistaken, that have more than 1 million metered gallons. A water meter isn't designed for more than 1 million. They stop reading, or they read incorrectly. One or the other. Well, how many meters do we have that are not even reading right now? 100?
Had like 118 showing, but actual stop meters is closer to probably 35.
Okay, so we have 35 meters that are not even reading, they're reading 0. So you're getting free water, right? So that's the situation we inherited. But you rest assured, I promise you, when I say, if you were in our group text message chats, when I say it gets lively, it gets lively. Chief Laxton will tell you, he's in them. Rusty will tell you, he's in them. I'm not a guy that I refuse to accept mediocrity. Refuse. You all deserve our best, right? You deserve Rusty's best, Justin's best, David's best. And that's, as your mayor, I promise you, I'm going to demand their best. I promise.
What's an achievable goal to get to that point? I mean, what's achievable time?
I think by the end of the year, minus our meters, I think we should easily be down to 60% water loss, easily. We get our new meters, Corey will tell you, we think 10 to 15% additional water loss will be cut just from the new meters reading correctly. So you go from 60 to 50. Mr. Joe?
Let me offer these observations. I've been down here since 1985. I've got seniority on all these folks. And my father was chairman of the Water Commission for a number of years in the 60s and 70s. So as a child growing up, I was exposed to the water department through him. Talk about water loss. The water lines in front of the house where I was raised and where Billy Sharp was raised was put in by the CCC in the late 30s. And when you look at the subdivisions that were built in the 40s and the 50s and 60s, those water lines are real old. You get a lot of leakage from those water lines that you may or may not be able to find. Now, the ideal solution, the perfect solution, is to put in a second water line replacement crew. We've got one crew now already, but you're talking about probably $150,000 in payroll cost and benefit cost for 3 new employees. Because you've got one crew, you're going to have to buy another backhoe and another truck and some other equipment, whatever it takes, and that's going to be another $100,000 or so. Then you have to start buying the pipe, because when you replace these lines, you don't necessarily replace the line, you put a line parallel to it, and you've got to hook all the local services into it and whatnot like that. And so you budget about $400,000 a year in new revenue to cover the water line loss. And you're seeing a 10% increase last fiscal year, and 10% increase this fiscal year. And that's just to stay current with all the rules and regulations that have been changed and to satisfy the state regulators that are looking at our water system. And you can see that maybe a 30% increase in the water bills from where they'll be after this meeting is over could possibly begin funding a second water line crew. Now, yes, if you could cut the water line loss to 40% by doing this, you'd pay for it in 2 or 3 years in the long run. But in the short run, how do you go to the customers in one sense of the word? It's a catch-22. You've got to increase the water line the water costs short-term in order to decrease the cost long-term. And that's the hard nut to crack. And if y'all have the answers, I would suggest the next election that you get your petition and you qualify and you run and you serve on the water board and you serve on town council and you see all the problems that we have to work through and solve. Now, like I said, I've been down here since 1985 and served with a lot of fine people. And we've kept the town open and it's relatively solvent. This is a difficulty that we'll work through. We use a lot of grant money. Maybe the meters will solve a lot of problems. But keep in mind the meters were replaced possibly 10 or 12 years ago, because I remember the discussions where they went from the mechanical meters to the radio reading meters, which was a great improvement. So it's real easy to sit back in the audience and have answers. And I would encourage you to come up here and implement your answers with a vote and a motion. See? Talk's cheap. Action is difficult, trust me.
It really is, because we are very limited in what we can and can't do. And when you are a solution-based individual, like you look for solutions to problems, and you are met with, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money, it's really difficult. I mean, it just is.
But it's okay to question.
It is okay to question, absolutely. Absolutely it
Yes.
is. And it
Is
needs
this
to be.
water increase now that you're talking about, is that designed to help fix what he was just talking about?
Yes.
Or are we just staying status quo?
No, there are capital projects that will be upcoming. There are streets that we have designated this year, or this fiscal year, that we will replace the entire line to some of those 70, 60, 70-year-old lines. And some of them are not that old, but they're in poor shape due to soil conditions, the acidity of the soil. So to answer your question, yes, there are multiple streets that we have designated that will get new lines put in this year.
And they're designated now. Now that
Yes.
has nothing to do with when you hit this new pump right here and the old pipe blows. Is this thing, where this increase, is it designed to cover when you flip the switch on a new high pressure pump? And we've got pipes put in third. As a contractor myself, I've dealt with one myself. And water's gonna go the weakest link.
Correct.
So, has this been thought out by a plumbing company that when you flip this high pressure deal to increase pressure, that pipe over yonder is gonna flow? Or are you just deciding that you're gonna fix this street and that street?
So Corey has extensive knowledge. He was basically the CEO of Cumberland Utility for how many years, Corey?
I was in there 23.
23 years. So, and that's a good thing, because Corey understands water pressures, and, one of the things that we can do is with our tank levels, you increase or decrease, that'll adjust PSI, yada, yada, yada. So, Corey, maybe you can answer it better than I can, but,
Well, I believe the new pumps are for sewer, it's not for water, correct?
Well, we just installed a new high service pump at the water plant.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
There is a sewer pump going to be installed at the pump station starting after Labor Day.
Right.
But, how we decide where we're going to replace water lines is the number of leaks that we've had. We've got a history built, one being Ridgeview Road. We've had multiple leaks fixed just in the past 6 months on that road. There's a galvanized line on that road as well, so that's why we're trying to knock out is the old galvanized lines where we've got a history of water leaks in that area. So, it's been well documented and well mapped.
Mr. Mayor, keep in mind too that the town gets grants about every 2 years from the federal and state agencies between $500,000 and $700,000. Those grants are earmarked toward water plant improvements or sewer plant improvements. Our water meter is going to be paid for a grant, for example, these new ones. So, yes, we have a pretty good idea. We're trying to divide the water system into sectors. You put a master meter going into the sector and a master meter going out of the sector, and that way you can more closely identify the areas of the water leaks. We've had acoustical companies come in with the equipment to listen for water leaks and give us this information. But there's two concerns. One concern is we've only got one crew. And I won't go into what I said earlier about having to pay $400,000 per fiscal year for a new crew. But I'd also say if you fixed everything in this water line within a week, who is to say the next week you're going to have 2 or 3 new water leaks that come up in that same line or somewhere else? They come up like weeds, like dandelions, I guess, in a perfect looking yard. And when you take out 40 dandelions, there's 80 that come back. And water leaks are the same. It's a challenge. It's a physical plant challenge, it's an employee challenge, and it's a financial challenge.
That's all I have. If you may have any questions.
I got a question on this collection. What's the cost of this collection that you're going to try to collect in?
We're still probably 2 months out from turning that money over to a collection agency, because I've got to go back, pull each one of those bills. Anything over 10 years, you can't collect. You've got to write that off. And that's, I mean, we've just got to populate that list before we do that.
So,
But collection agency's going to take a percentage of whatever they collect.
what do they collect?
Yeah, so I mean, if we collect 10% of that,
Yeah,
I mean, that's more than we're collecting right now, that just sitting there on the books.
so we don't have an estimate on what it's going to cost us?
No,
It's not a cost first, or only on what they get?
it wouldn't be a cost to us. It would just be where we wouldn't, they'll take a percentage of what they collect and then give us the rest.
Have they got the right then to say, well, if they owe 1,000, we'll give you 500, right the rest of it off?
No, that'll be a set amount.
It's
That'll
set
be,
amount.
yeah, we'll sign a contract with whichever company we decide, and that'll be a set amount that they withhold.
Is there a payment plan too that they could, or, you know?
What happens in a collection agency, I can probably answer that, is the town will assign so many accounts or all the accounts over the collection agency. And we've got a total, each account will have a total amount owed. And say a person owes $400 on the account, well, the credit agency, credit collection company contacts them, assuming they can find them, because people do move and people do disappear where you can't find them. And then if they agree to pay, they may work out a cash payment of, say, $400 payment full. The credit company probably will take 50%. That's where Corey was saying we'll get, 50% of $200 is better than 100% of nothing. Now, if they agree to pay $20 a month, if they pay $20 a month, the credit collection company gets $10 and we get $10. But it's been my experience in my law practice that about 80% of the people that promise to pay will pay 1 or 2 payments and not pay any more, and so you just got to keep after them. And sometimes they disappear or change jobs or move away or whatever it may be. And the collection agency is the best we can do, but it's not going to be a magic bullet.
Well, that's, I just wonder if it's be a cost of us.
It won't cost us anything, no. Well, actually, if they're able to collect, $100, that's $100 more than what we have.
Let's come off the books then as we wiped away, then all the losses we've got, will that be wiped away where the state?
Won't be all of it. That won't all be wiped off. But, I mean, you can start chipping away at that.
I know that looks bad on us having
Well, I mean,
losses.
it does. I mean, it's not as bad as it seems.
Well, I mean, that state looks at it like well, look at all this money you're losing.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just something we need to look at kind of getting a handle on and not letting that grow.
I would say that everybody's experiencing that because of the COVID rules. Everybody's every water system is gonna have that problem right now.
Well, how the other cities have handled that then? Don't know, but then,
But since they told us we couldn't do that, they never offered no compensation to make up for it later.
There was,
You would think it'd be something to do.
there was some COVID money for lost revenue.
What was it?
Yeah,
Other than ARPA?
yeah, for sure.
it's-
Just for the lost revenue from not disconnected, from non-payments.
That something's out of date now.
Yeah.
It's then you need a file, you ain't gonna get it.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller, any comments?
No, it's time, sir.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Brown?
I don't have anything right now.
Ms. Van Hook?
No. Thank
Mr. Holly?
Back to the Jewel Road, I think I remember, 8 years ago, we put new pumps, and did we do a generator too then, or something?
No, they didn't do the generator, they did one pump, and this is the additional pump here.
So this is the first generator
And the
thing?
first generator, yeah. Now, the problem we've got, that we'll have to address in the future, is you don't have a generator at the actual sewer plant right now.
Correct. So if the sewer plant goes down, the sewer plant goes down.
See, that was cut out of a project, maybe a couple years ago.
It took out the main
It was
rehab,
together,
right?
I mean, rehab, yeah.
And
That
the
might be
old
looking further
school,
back.
the old school, and we didn't have one either? We never had an old generator?
No, not that I'm aware
No,
of.
sewer plant never had one.
No.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the new budget, don't we have a SCADA, emergency?
Yeah.
I apologize. Right now, if there's an emergency at the water plant or the wastewater plant, you know what happens? Minus the next door neighbor calling the police department to let us know there's a problem, we don't know if there's a problem.
Yeah, I remember there was a SCADA one put on at the Jewel Road. Did that ever pan out where it worked?
It's not tied in to be able to notify anyone.
Correct.
See, this project going forward, it's about a $30,000 project. I mean, we've already really bid,
Yes.
3 bids on it.
Yeah.
That's just on the lift stations with SCADA.
Oh,
Plants actually don't have it.
Yeah.
but the lift station, SCADA.
Well, I mean, it's just on alarms, all it is, if there's an overflow or power outage.
Anything else, Mr. Ron? Mr. Brunt?
Not at this time.
Thanks, sir. Any old business? Any old business? New business. Discuss the fiscal year 2023-2024 water and sewer budget over the enterprise fund ordinance 2023-08-10.
All right, your folders would have all the budget paperwork in order. So your top page would be, again, ordinance number 2023-08-10. Allen Walter Springs Water Department rates effective August 20th, 2023 water and sewer bills. Reason being it's August 20th is that is the next billing cycle that goes into effect after today. So water and sewer rates, gallons, 0 to 1,000 gallons, the new cost goes to $15.25. Over 1,000 gallons, the total used is $10.27 per thousand. That is water inside of town. Water outside of town stays the same as it has been in the past, except, again, the minimum bill is dropped from 1,800 gallons to 1,000. So water outside of town, 0 to 1,000 gallons is $24.69. Over 1,000 gallons, the total used is $15.30 per thousand. Anderson County, Class 3 stays the same, total used is $1.59 per thousand. Class 1 is your sewer inside of town. First 0 to 1,000 gallons is $27.32. Over 1,000 gallons, the total used is $16.53 per thousand. That reflects the 6% increase on the sewer inside of town. Class 2, your sewer outside of town stays the same. 0 to 1,000 gallons is $47.91. Over 1,000 gallons, the total used is $28.28 per thousand. Class 3, Anderson County stays the same. Total used, $28.82 per thousand. Class 4 stays the same. Sewer-only customers, $67.40 per month. New on our rate structure and our rate schedules is the meter tampering charge, tampering fee plus material damage cost. First offense, tampering fee number 1, removing a lock, breaking a shutoff valve, installing meter jumpers is $500 for the first offense. Second offense is $1,000. Tampering fee number 2 covers an unauthorized connection or tap. First offense, $1,500. Second offense is $3,000. Now, the material damage cost, damage locks, $50, damage shut-off valves, $150, damage meters, $350. There's also a monthly fee of $4 will be assessed on the town for each fire hydrant inside the town, and on each county for each fire hydrant outside the town limits, their respective county. Tap fees. Section 2, costs for new installation of water and meter base. All Oliver Springs customer tap fees, 3/4 inch, will be $1,500. There is no longer a change in the inside of town versus outside of town. So 3/4 inch is $1,500. 1 inch, $1,750. Above 1 inch is $500 plus cost of labor and material. Note, customer is responsible for boring costs if a bore is required. Bill must be paid before the meter can be unlocked. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. Additional fees are required prior to installation of water meter as follows. Installation charge, $175 non-refundable. Reactivation charge is $175, is also non-refundable. Meter transfer fee charge, $50, non-refundable. Unlock and relock meter for home inspection is $70, which is also non-refundable. All of those charges do stay the same as the previous year. Customers who wish to purchase a tap water meter for any purpose other than a water meter installation, for example, a private fire hydrant or sprinkler system, will be charged $500 plus the cost of labor and materials due to the town installation of the tap. Page 2, cost for sewer connections and other charges, so sewer tap fees. Again, there's no inside versus outside difference. So all Oliver Springs customer tap fees are $1,250. Other monthly surcharges, this is for wood cutters, $8.69 per residence. Schools are $160.50. Those do stay the same as previous years. This note is, this has always been in your ordinances as well. All premises which have a town sewer main or sewer trunk line available to their property frontage shall be required to hook onto the sewer system if the topography of the site will allow gravity feed from premises to the sewer system. Payment of bills, all of these charges below, there's been no changes from previous years, but we'll go through them as water and sewer bills are due and payable by the 16th of each month. A 20% penalty will be added to customer bills on the first workday after the 16th of each month. Customers who have not paid their water and sewer bills by the 26th of each month may have their water service terminated and their meter locked for non-payment. In extreme cases where a customer has been consistently current in paying water bills, the mayor or town manager may extend the cutoff date by 5 days. $35 disconnection fee will be charged when town employees are dispatched to lock out a meter for non-payment, even if the payment is given to the town employees before the meter is locked out. Now, one thing I will note, the distribution system employees are no longer allowed to accept money, which before it was only accept checks or money orders. All water bills must be paid here at the office. The $35 reconnect fee plus bill payment in full will be charged prior to reconnecting a water meter, which is locked for non-payment. Customers requiring a transfer will be charged a meter fee of $50. Return check fees, a fee of $30 will be assessed for all returned checks. And checks no longer be accepted for payment from that individual unless approved by the city manager. Should any customer have a water leak, customer must contact Servline Home Serve Leak Insurance at 865-730-0999 to file a claim. In certain extreme circumstances, upon documentation of the leak and leak repair, the customer can apply for an additional adjustment. The customer shall be charged for the full water amount that the customer shall be charged an amount equal to the average monthly bill over the past 6 months for the sewer amount. This leak adjustment is at the discretion of the city manager only. Customers are only allowed one leak adjustment per 12-month period, not calendar year. Annual rate changes. All water and wastewater rates and fees will change annually on July the 1st in the amount of 2% to account for inflation or CPI, whichever is greater. These rates and fee changes will occur automatically. Again, first public hearing event is July 20th, and public hearing number 2 is today. If you want to look at your actual budget, it'll be this sheet. And this is based off of, again, changing your minimum bill from 1,800 to 1,000 gallons, and the 9% water rate increase on inside customers and 6% sewer rate on inside customers only. Total operating revenues are $2,793,464. Big thing under other revenue, contributed capital grant. We're scheduled to get $1,946,625 in grant money this current fiscal year, taking our total revenues to $4,741,089. Bottom starts your expenses. Total water treatment expenses is $299,100. Total transmission distribution, $657,290. Total administrative and general, $363,968. Total insurance, this is insurance on buildings and liability, $67,585. Sewer collections, $203,300. Total sewer treatment plant, $408,128. Total retirement, which our retirement system is through TCRS, $36,000. Total insurance, this is the hospital and health insurance, $218,093. Depreciation, $540,000. Takes your total expenses to $2,793,464. Now, that gives us a net change in net position of $1,947,625, which is the same number as your total contributed capital grant funds going to be received. So, look at reconciliation to cash basis. So, again, from above, your net change in net position from above was $1,947,625. Add back in your depreciation, $540,000. Here are your capital projects for this upcoming year. Capital outlay, high service pump with the water treatment plant, which has already been completed. There's 8 electric actuator valves for the water treatment plant. There's 2,200 residential water meters. That project totals $1,079,381. Water line replacement, $60,000. Your sewer collection, capital outlay project, again, that was for the Justice Field, that's $641,244. Sewer treatment plant, your principal on state notes, that's your rural development loan, and that is for your Joel Road pump station. And there's your capital outlay for the SCADA telemetry for the sewer treatment plant. And that gives us a net change in cash of $228,136, increasing our ending cash balance, which is currently at the start of the year $487,562 to $715,698. Does anyone have any questions?
Passes vote. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Holland with a motion, second.
Second.
Ms. Van Hook seconds. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Roy Miller.
I'm sorry.
We do have some citizens that have agreements with the city not to pay sewer, even though the line is there in front of their house. And that was to allow the city to go through and put the sewer across their property. So not everybody has to hook up to the sewer line.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
Corey?
Yeah.
I know I'm on septic tank field line. We run a moratorium on hot dogs. Motion, second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Kenny Brown,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
James Brummels. Yes. Passed, all voted aye.
All right.
So we need your signature on your copy.
This time we will adjourn the water board meeting with a motion.
So moved.
So moved. All in favor, say aye. Aye.